This is the 25th year of the Jewish Achiever Awards. 25 years of a remarkable legacy recognizing the historic and disproportionate contribution made by the Jewish community to South Africa. There were those who wished to write us out of South African history, to belittle our contribution towards the struggle for freedom in South Africa, our philanthropic contributions to the nation, our feedings of the poor, our training of professionals, our buildings of businesses and factories and industries. Now, more than ever, we need to create icons for the country, people who have built businesses, contributed to the economy, created jobs, and built the very fabric of our society. These awards now recognize rising stars, fostering and encouraging the future leaders of South Africa. But at the same time, we recognize those who have spent a lifetime creating the unique, the extraordinary, and the seemingly impossible. Tonight's winner falls into such a category. The Kirsh family is so honored to be the sponsors of this award. The roots of our family are deep in the dusty soil of South Africa. South Africa created a springboard for us to thrive and flourish around the world. But wherever we go, our soul beats with the rhythm of Africa. This continent will always be our home. So it's with great pleasure that this year we can once again recognize a remarkable South African, an inspiration and role model for our nation. The winner of the Kirsh Family Lifetime Achievement Award, given in honor of the legacy of Helen Suzman, is my great friend, Michael Lewis.
The journey of a million miles begins with a single step. To understand the beginnings of it, I need to go back a little bit from a family point of view because it happened in the context of a set of family events. The original family business was started by my grandfather, which is today Lewis Stores. He was an immigrant that came to South Africa in about 1908 from Latvia. He was a hawker. People couldn't always pay him cash for the threads and the needles, the buttons, the small things that he had. So sometimes he took a bedside table or a lamp. He then managed in late 20s, early 30s to buy Woodstock Auction Mart, where he began auctioning this furniture that he was getting. He found that as a better way to turn furniture items that he'd received into cash. And then he figured out that he knew enough about furniture that he should just open a store in Victoria Road, Woodstock, which is where Lewis Stores is today. The two older brothers were in it, and over time, my father got more and more involved in it. And there was a series of tragedies that began in 1950. My uncle, Jack, was killed in a plane crash. And 6 weeks later, the other brother, Izzy, dropped dead of a heart attack. By the time these tragedies had unfolded, the control of Lewis Stores had passed to Great Universal, with my father working for them as managing director. In late 1957, early 58, he identified Foschini and simultaneously left Lewis Stores from 1957-58, he poured his soul into a very dedicated effort over the next 30-odd years to expand the business into the other businesses that came subsequently.
To the money desk now, the owner of Foschini now owns Jet Stores.
Foschini owner TFG now owns, as you say, almost 400 Jet stores in the country.
It is driven by a vision of what the business is likely to need over a period of time. So it's looking forward and enabling that with great people and the willingness to put investment capital behind it. It's the Bible by which we live. There were and remain people who believe that we've gone too fast, too far, spent too much money. Those criticisms are gradually abating because the results are starting to come through. There are many platform aspects of the business that we bring to acquisitions or new businesses that the subsequent generations of management have built very carefully and created a wonderful platform both to run the existing businesses but also to bring things onto it.
They are close to 5,000 stores. We've got 35 very powerful brands. Over the past decade, TFG has become a very significant, truly international retailer.
The future arrives very quickly, and it's going to arrive whether you like it or you don't. There's change, and there is the need to meet that change, and the way you meet that change is with talented, quality people who can look forward. 10, 12 years ago, a decision was made to acquire a factory. It was a big change for us, something we'd really stayed away from. But we realized that we were becoming of sufficient scale that the net effect, when you add it all up, logistics, transport, the shorter period of decision-making, you're increasing your intellectual capital and your understanding of how processes are undertaken in a way that makes your business more efficient that you didn't understand before.
TFG has almost single-handedly revitalised the clothing manufacturing industry in South Africa over the last 5 or 6 years. Today we employ about 7,500 people in our own factories.
In an employment-starved country, the fact that we're playing our role in expanding, adding to employment, both in numbers and in terms of quality of employment, and doing so whilst at the same time getting a BE score of 2, I believe it is, which is, very, very good. I think it's the best in retail in South Africa. So we're not only expanding the numbers, the quality of the work, but we're doing it in a way that matters to the future of South Africa. An inclusive way is a matter of great pride to us, and we won't take our foot off that accelerator at all. There's sort of 2 parts, I guess, to my life, or maybe 3, I suppose, beyond family. From a work point of view, there's obviously TFG. Then there's Strand, the business in Australia, which is owned directly by our family. It sells luggage and fashion accessories.
One of Australia's most unassuming but successful retailers is defying the sales downturn, opening its 293rd store.
He's perfected that owner role where you can support and lead a team. He knows what's going on around the world and certainly the role digital's playing in the ever-changing retail landscape.
I do some work in the philanthropic world. When my father passed away, we established a chair of Israel studies at Oxford in his name, which is dedicated to teaching modern Israel history, economics, society, and politics. But it's not political in the narrow or traditional sense of that word. It's teaching the entire topic, and actually it's been very successful.
Michael has single-handedly transformed the academic engagement with matters of Israel studies in Oxford University specifically and the UK more generally. Through his fund, he has endowed the Stanley Lewis Chair Professorship in Israel Studies, making Oxford one of the leading players in the study of Israel.
Families, major for me. I have 2 girls who live in New York, 1 son who's in the business in Australia, and I have a little travel related both to business and to family. I obviously have a new young daughter from my second marriage. I was incredibly lucky to have amazing parents at every level. Their values, their attitude to life, their ethics. My mother's still alive. She's nearly 97. It's about fulfillment and a feeling of a sense of contribution. You're doing something that's honorable and you're putting food on the table, you're contributing in some way to society. Those are very important sources of joy. That balance is important to everybody. And as time goes along, of course, things change and got to adapt. I have a full life and a busy life, but one that is quite well balanced and very enjoyable. I'm very grateful for the balance that I have.
ladies and gentlemen, now to present the award, please welcome on stage Michael Lewis.
The hour is late. The hour is late. I will keep it as short as I possibly can. Chief Rabbi, honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, when Dorianne, God bless her, where are you, Dori? There you are. When Dorianne first told me about this award, I had two reactions. First is that I didn't realize that I was actually old enough to get a Lifetime Achievement Award. And the second, and I assure you there's no false modesty here, is that in looking at the list of previous recipients, including you, Nati, and maybe especially you, I felt like something of an imposter. Nevertheless, I am grateful for the acknowledgement and kindness, and I'm delighted to be here accompanied by my loving wife, who provides so many things to me, the most important of which is shalom bayit, and all the love in the world. My sisters and brothers-in-law, whose unwavering love and support are a cornerstone of my life. Unfortunately, geography precludes my children from being here, but they have expressed their pride and their love for me, and as always, I'm extremely grateful for that. I acknowledge too my 97-year-old mother, Zia, who gave serious thought about being here tonight, actually, but it would have been too much for her. I owe her more than I could possibly describe. I'd also like to welcome the Foschini Group Chief Executive Officer, Anthony Thunstrom, there you are, Anthony, and his wife, Jen, and my board colleague, Eddie Ovlovitz, for giving of their precious time, for being with us this evening. I'm really touched and grateful. If I qualify for any award at all, it is for choosing the most remarkable parents. I say this not just because it is true, but because I am a product of the teaching, exposure, and love my father lavished upon me for many, many years. Whatever I have managed to accomplish is in large measure thanks to him, and I therefore dedicate this award to his memory with love, respect, and gratitude. You saw a little bit in the video there, but together we ventured in a number of sectors, companies, geographies, and philanthropies, each thrilling and interesting in their own way. But because the Foschini Group was the moving passion of his life, and as time went on of mine, I ask your indulgence as I dwell just for a moment on that part of my and my family's story. My father bought his interest, as you saw in the video, in what was then simply Foschini Limited in 1957, after a series of family tragedies, again, that you saw, and the loss of control of Lewis Stores by my family, which was obviously a tragedy, and Lewis Stores had been established by my grandfather, and my father had actually worked there, as had my uncles. So it was a great loss to the family. But as young as I can remember, TFG has been an integral part of my life. I took immense pride and pleasure in its growth and success over the years and cherish my participation in this remarkable story. It is therefore most fitting that Anthony Thunstrom is here tonight. Under his bold leadership, further significant investment and growth has taken place, again, as you saw. The group now comprises some 5,000 stores, 35 brands, 50,000 people worldwide. We're particularly proud, again, as the video mentioned, that we have almost single-handedly, with the help of government, recreated, resurrected, if you like, the textile manufacturing industry in South Africa and we're now pushing into other forms of manufacturing, including furniture and even jewelry. TFG is the living manifestation that, in my father's words, one can do good and benefit society through business. I will never forget visiting a TFG factory not so very long ago and encountering a machinist. She came up to me to express her gratitude for the investment that we had made in the factory and the job that she had as a result. With deep emotion, she described the number of people living off the income she was now able to bring in. The expression on her face and in her eyes said it all. At TFG, we shall never forget that it is our sacred mission to grow and provide worthwhile employment, especially in this country, which is so in need of jobs and innovation. TFG has boundless optimism in the future of this beautiful land. It is investing at record levels in people, training, technology, stores, factories, logistics, and its digital ecosystem called Bash, which is now the most downloaded app in South Africa. Last financial year alone, I'll give you a few brief statistics. Capital expenditure was over 2 billion, topping off a decade in which 12 billion was invested. And if you add to that acquisitions, something like 20 billion over the last decade. The years ahead will see this continue, and it will make a profound impact on all TFG stakeholders and the country as a whole. It is, again, as mentioned in the video, a particular satisfaction that TFG has attained a level 2 BBBEE score. It is the envy of our sector and underlines our unshakable commitment to train, develop, and transform. TFG's people, values, and culture are its greatest assets, and it is with indescribable pride and pleasure that the combined efforts of so many people over so many decades have resulted in the company my father always envisaged when he said, "I want to plant roots so deep that what I create will survive me and be an asset to society." Safeguarding and building upon that legacy is what I care about most in my position as chairman of the Foschini Group, and is Anthony's mission as we pursue our dynamic growth agenda. I truly believe the TFG story is just getting started. In closing, I'd like to say how humbled I am to receive an award which is in honor of the memory of a woman that I admired very much, a great icon, Helen Suzman. I acknowledge and thank ABSA, and while I do that, not only for the role ABSA has played this evening, but I want to tell everybody here, and ABSA I hope you remember it, and I'm sure you do, that in the tough days of COVID, you were the first bank, one of the first banks, to stand behind TFG as we faced those very uncertain days. I'd also like to thank the remarkable Howard. Howie, I'm going to call you Howie even though we don't know each other very well. That tour de force of the Jewish contribution to South Africa was something quite extraordinary. I really commend you for it. It was really quite breathtaking, and so I thank you, and obviously the South African Jewish Report. And as ever, Nati, Francis, Wendy, the entire Kirsh family and the Kirsh Foundation for not only their generosity for this evening, but their ambitious global philanthropy, which is noted by all. Once again, my profound thanks for the award. I really appreciate it. I'm grateful. Good night, and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Michael Lewis.